Trump went to the Middle East, he got a ton of investments, but now you have people asking, are they real? Because last Friday, Trump said that the Gulf states are going to invest $2 trillion into the US. And then on Monday, he said $5.1 trillion, and then on Tuesday, he said it's probably going to be $7 trillion. Right? And so if these deals are real, Trump has blown the doors off of the American economy, but the question is, are they real? Because you have some experts saying probably not. Versus Trump says that Saudi Arabia pledged to invest $600 billion into the US over the next 4 years. But in the fact sheet that the White House released, they only detail $282 billion of deals. Right, so if it's true, we should assume that the other $318 billion will be announced later. But again, you have some experts saying that investing $600 billion in 4 years into another country is so incredibly ambitious that it's extremely implausible to happen. Right, noting that Saudi would have to use 85% of its sovereign wealth fund, or it would have to give the US half of its entire budget for 4 years. So you have some saying even if you stretch it out to 10 years, it's still pretty implausible. But then we move over to Qatar, where Trump said that they pledged to invest $1.2 trillion. But this is the White House has only detailed around $250 billion in deals. And again, you can give them the benefit of the doubt that more deals will be announced, but also unlike the Saudi deal, they didn't specify a time frame. Right? And while some have thrown out that it would be over 4 years, that would fundamentally be impossible because Qatar just simply doesn't have $1.2 trillion lying around. And this is, you have some experts saying that over 10 years would still be extremely unlikely because they'd have to give away 100% of their sovereign wealth fund and more than half of their entire GDP for 10 years to invest $1.2 trillion. And so you have some saying if you stretch it out to even 20 years, it's still pretty unlikely. But then let's move on to the UAE. Because Trump has announced $200 billion worth of deals, but the White House has only detailed $78 billion on their fact sheet. And then on top of that, they also reaffirmed a $1.4 trillion investment from March that will take place over 10 years, which some experts say is pretty implausible because that's what all the Emirati wealth funds combined are worth. So they could just use that, or they could give 28% of their GDP to the US every year. Right? And that is, no country in the history of the entire world has ever given another country 10% of its GDP annually, let alone 28%. And so all of that is why you're seeing more and more people saying that Trump's $2 trillion in investments, they just don't appear to be real, and that the Gulf princes clearly know how to play the game with them. But for now, we'll have to wait to see what money actually materializes, and in the meantime, I hope Trump just keeps raising the amount getting announced every day. Next week, make it 45 quadrillion billion trillion dollars. Love it.